Hey folks, Cameron Stewart here with eXp Realty out of Rome, New York, and today we're talking about escalation clauses. Now, in this real estate market, it is a seller's market. So you're not just competing against the seller as a buyer, you're competing against other buyers as well. And you're gonna need to make your offer stand out. One of the best ways to do that when you find the home that you're dead set on buying is to put an offer in with an escalation clause. So stay tuned, we're gonna go over what an escalation clause is in this video and a little bit about how it protects you. All right, folks, so escalation clauses, they're a great tool to help you as a buyer in this market. It is a seller's market. There's not a lot of inventory. There's a ton of buyers. So in this market, as a buyer, you're not competing just against the seller to get that home. You're competing against a slew of other buyers as well, and you need to make your offer stand out. One of the best ways to do that is with an escalation clause. An escalation clause is pretty simple, but it's best to use an example with actual numbers. Let's say you have a house that's listed at $200,000. You've decided it's the house for you, and you don't want to lose out on the offer, and you decide to put an escalation clause. An escalation clause could state something like this: I'm willing to pay $200,000 for your home as a base offer. However, if there's another competing offer higher than my base offer of $200,000, I will pay, in this example, $1,000 over any other competing offers. However, I won't pay more than, for this example, let's say $215,000. So the house is listed at $200,000, you're willing to pay that. But if someone else bids over $200,000, you're willing to beat that competing offer by $1,000, but you won't pay more than $215,000. That's the escalation clause in a nutshell. There's a couple things that are important to know about the escalation clause, however. There's some questions you're gonna have to ask yourself to make sure you're in the best situation when presenting this offer on that house. Number one, is this house the one? All right, is this house the one that you definitely want? Are you willing to bid on this? Are you willing to get in a competition with other buyers on this house? People are paying overpriced for a lot of homes right now, and it needs to be the one for you and your family if you're going to do that. So number one, is this house the one for you, and are you willing to compete against other buyers? Number two, you need to decide an initial offer strategy. What I like to do with escalation clauses, considering you're already kind of showing your hand and showing where you're willing to go up to, let's start a little under. So for that $200,000 home that's listed in that example we used before, maybe a good offer price, base price, would be $195,000. You still want to try and get the house at the lowest price, but you're still willing to pay more. The next thing you want to figure out is what's the highest you're willing to go. Now this depends on a couple factors. Number one, what are you comfortable with? What are you and your family comfortable with spending per month on your mortgage, okay? Number two, you're gonna need to figure out if you're paying too much, all right? So you don't wanna sit here and pay 30–40% over market value for a home, okay? And then be in a situation where you have to sell, let's say, in a few years and the market has dropped. Now you have to come out of pocket to sell your house. So you have to have some strategy when figuring out that high price, all right? But that high price should be at a point where you're willing to pay for it, but you're not gonna be too upset if someone pays over that, okay? Almost like a good riddance. You paid way more than I would have, you can have the house. Another thing you have to think about is, what are you willing to offer over competing offers? Rule of thumb is generally $1,000, but if you really love a house, okay, maybe you're willing to offer $2,000 or $2,500 more than another competing offer. That'll help your offer stand out above the other ones, okay? One thing to keep in mind here, you might be thinking to yourself, well, Cameron, if I'm willing to pay $200,000 for the house, but I say that I'm also willing to pay $215,000 if someone else puts in an offer, aren't I showing my hand there to the listing agent and to the seller by saying I'm willing to pay $215,000? Won't they just get back to us and say you can pay $215,000? No, because in that escalation clause, it clearly states that if the offer does escalate, meaning if we put an offer in at $200,000 up to $215,000, if let's say we have a competing offer at $205,000, that listing agent has to show us that other competing offer. They need to get another actual offer in from another pre-approved client, okay, in order for our offer to escalate above our initial offer. So all in all, escalation clauses do help protect you as a buyer when putting that offer in, but they really help your offer stand out amongst other offers from other buyers on the market. So thanks for joining in, folks. Once again, Cameron Stewart with eXp Realty, operating right here out of Rome, New York, in the greater Mohawk Valley and Central New York area. 315-351-2765. Hope to speak to you guys soon.